Okay, in this video I'm going to have a look at the arguments against the cosmological argument, and this is probably going to be and I'm going to avoid using my own arguments because, as I've said, these videos are revision for my RSAS philosophy and ethics course, so I'm only going to look at the ones that they want you to look at, and I'm sure maybe some of you will look at my video that I've put up against someone else's explanation of the Kalam argument, and that will have more of my opinions of it. So this video is just going to look at more the ones they want you to put the opinions of. And so, okay, first off, probably the one that's the strongest argument against the cosmological argument, and probably the one that reflects most atheists the best, I think. And this is one by David Hume, and it's generally the idea that just because the universe had a beginning doesn't mean that anything had to cause it to come into existence. It could have just spontaneously come into existence. One of the things that I can say is that the idea that in the Kalam argument, it says that the rules of nature did not exist before the beginning of the universe, so the universe could not have come about by natural causes. However, if the laws of nature didn't come about before the creation, if the laws of nature did not exist before the universe existed, that means all the rules they've said about beginning and ending of things doesn't exist. So the laws of nature don't apply, and so things could just appear out of nowhere. If there's no laws of nature, then why couldn't things just spontaneously have created out of nothingness? That's one of the flaws of the argument, I think. And one of the analogies one of the things he says is just because humans have a mother doesn't mean that the universe has to have a mother, and that the universe just because people have a mother doesn't mean the universe has to have a beginning. People have a beginning doesn't mean the universe has to. It's us applying things to something which doesn't necessarily have relevance for. One of his quotes is, "I should say that the universe is just there, and that's all." And that's generally one of the opinions most atheists would have. They would generally just say it's there, and that's the end of it. It doesn't need any more explanation than that. Okay, another one who is quoted is Arthur Kenny, and his argument is more to do with the movement idea. So his is Aquinas' idea that nothing moves itself goes against the fact that humans and animals move themselves. And this is a quotation of him: "Newton's law wrecks the arguments of the 5 ways. For at any given moment, the rectangular uniform motion of a body can be explained by the principle of interior in terms of body's own previous motion without the appeal to any other agent." In other words, our own internal body's previous movements generate the next movements. These don't have to be caused by anything else. So the sheer fact that all animals simply move themselves doesn't work with St. Thomas Aquinas' arguments. The final one that I'm going to look at is Immanuel Kant, and this one looks more at he doesn't simply argue completely against the cosmological argument, but saying that we shouldn't really be even considering it. The idea that everything must have a first cause only applies to things that we have a sensory experience for. We have no experience of the beginning of the universe, so we cannot say that the universe had to have a beginning, or if it did have a beginning, that this beginning was created by God. It is outside our sense experience, and therefore impossible for us to have any knowledge of it. We have never seen a universe begin. We have never had anything quite so. We have no idea, so we can't really even consider how it was created, and it's arrogant to think that we are intelligent enough to consider how the universe came into being. I'll say a small amount of what my opinion is towards this thing. I, to be honest, think it's a lot to do with psychology, and that people, as the other people have said, that humans impose our understanding of the world on everything. We impose order, we see order, and we want to add that onto things. And we have beginnings and ends, and so we want to give that to the universe. and also to do with the idea that we simply can't comprehend the idea of infinite. Infinite is too big. Imagine lying there and just thinking of the infinite. Imagine you're flying through space, and think that as you're flying through space and the stars flying past your head, that you could do this forever, your entire life, and not even scratch the tiniest bit of the surface, because this is infinite, and you can't really comprehend the idea of doing that. It's just, the idea of infinite is impossible for you to imagine whenever everything you do has a beginning and an end, and it's hard to imagine an infinite universe, and that's why we don't think of it, because it's just not part of our experience. Humans are too small, and to be honest, in a large scale of the universe, so insignificant that we can't comprehend the whole thing. But yes, so in my opinion it's a lot to do with psychology, and I've said about the other people's major arguments. I don't think this video needs to be as long as the others, because in my opinion these arguments against the cosmological argument don't need to be long, because they're just so simple, in my opinion, obvious. So I'm going to leave it at that and go on to one of the other arguments for the existence of God.